I'm back.
Okay, we're all live now. Welcome. We're a little bit earlier than we usually are. I know, but should be good.
Hello.
I hope you will all enjoy it. We'll pick off where we left off last time, and we're going to try to answer those very reasonable questions. I'm going to turn to my good old mate, Real Raven here, who's been the backbone of this operation. So please take it away, Real Raven.
Okay, so I have to share. Share again. Now. Next question. 727.
So the information and knowledge.
Just leave it running. We have to do the one next to it. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one we want.
That's
730.
That is one fat lip motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm not racist.
Oh, shut up for a sec. Just
Come
listen
on.
to the question and then let's shit talk then.
Knowledge can be further.
Do you deny that systemic racism against black people is like a thing in general? If so, what? Okay, just step over. Just cover your ears for a second and let the smart people talk. If not, why is it so much more important to you to demonize groups like Black Lives Matter than to actually use your platforms to discuss actual solutions to issues surrounding race and...
I just love it. Just cover your ears and let the smart people talk. Okay, but then I can't hear what you say, you smart person.
Yeah, the thing I found most beautiful was that basically he's saying, well, if you disagree, you should let the smart people talk, and if you agree, you're wrong.
But shouldn't it be cover your mouth and let the smart people talk? Right?
Yeah, you can't talk out of your ears, but I think the idea is don't listen to us because you're not smart enough to listen to us or something like that. I certainly hope that's what he was getting at, and he doesn't actually think that closing your ears would make it impossible for you to talk.
He is the one janitor.
It makes it impossible
One at a
for
time,
you to-
people. One at a time.
See, he knows that people who are listening to him, who are going to cover their ears up, are smarter than he is, so he just wants you to cover your ears so he can get the bullshit up to everyone else who will listen.
So what about systemic racism? Is it a thing?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Which system and which government's entity, which government law, which law, local, federal, state, whatever, discriminates him, and how does it discriminate him? Now, the condescending attitude that the smart people quote, it shows that he's not the smart person talking, because he can't answer those questions. They cannot answer one example of a law, of a preemptive systemic I can't remember what's the word, but that restricts them from being who they want. The only systemic thing that I see that's working against them is their own ignorance, their own
Carlos.
Sorry?
There's one more systemic thing, I think, and that is the system of the progressive stack. It's a system that the feminists themselves have introduced.
Yes,
it's actually
that's
systemic.
that's the only one.
It's the system itself that defines colored people or people of color as a lower like
exactly.
class.
They are the ones that are being
the
put down.
thing. That's the
Well,
only thing that
I can actually give examples of institutional racism, to be honest.
Like?
The
Well,
thing
just
is,
recent-
they
just
will
recently-
not like it. They don't want to hear it, though. But you want an example of institutionalized racism?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of affirmative action?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is, at heart, racism.
Not extending people's contracts on the BBC because they're the wrong skin color.
Color?
That's racism.
Yeah.
And gender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah. As I was going to continue, sorry, that their own actions, their own limited actions, their own choices is what's systemic about the racism that occurs. And yes, the stack is one of the progressive stack is, that's the systemic racism that they have. Thank you, guys.
And
Anyway,
well,
I'm going to give Mark. Let me give Mark a chance to throw in, because. Go on, Mark. What do you want to say?
Like I said in one of my videos, with the whole BLM thing, it would be nice if they would actually focus on their own communities, you know, instead of the whole cop thing.
Well, there's this guy I follow on Twitter. I just think he's one of the he's probably one of the funnier black dudes on Twitter, and he's very on point, and I believe conservative as he's voting Trump, although that's not indicative of conservatism. However, his name's Adonis Hotep, and he once tweeted out the exact point that I have been making for the longest time, and that was, yo, BLM seems to think that there isn't any other race other than white people. And it's like, right? I mean, they spend their entire time focusing on just the evils of the white man and the terribleness of our ancestors, and goes on and on and on. And it's all like, there are other aspects of life other than the bad shit white people have done. Now,
for example, has anyone ever opened an Astro Boy comic and seen how they depict black people? It is blackface to the extreme.
Dragon Ball?
Straight out of Japan.
Dragon Ball?
If you're counting Mr. Popo, I guess, but he's supposed to be kind of like a genie type thing. I never really seen him as a black person, because they have other black people in the series who look completely normal.
He's a djinn who possesses you through the internet.
Exactly. But I agree with you. Yes, Rocket, what's his name? Adam Boy. Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, the thing that I found most enjoyable about this one is he complains about racism and then ignores the racism that he himself wants to happen. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. After all, he's only a janitor. And yes, that's a being big of me. I shouldn't have said that. That's rubbish. But
no, because I got to tell you, I have been logically slapped around by high school dropouts, so I've learned not to talk trash about the uneducated.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
See.
Yeah, that's a blackface.
That is blackface to the. That's not the only example. That's everywhere. That's just one dude.
Okay.
That is how they depict every black person in that comic.
It's really cute.
Yep.
Hey.
Those lips.
Really cute.
But those lips do fit. Anyway,
It's a self-portrait.
sorry, that was mean of me. Come on, Real. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, systemic. Yeah. There was one more point I wanted to make about systemic. I know I'm still low. Am I? That I think that what they see, they count the numbers, maybe the police statistics or whatever. They see the outcome, and then they kind of say from the outcome we deduct there's a system, right?
Yeah.
Correlation, causation, all that shit.
Yeah, but even then it doesn't fit, because.
But they don't actually outline the system. They don't actually say.
Yeah, but even if the correlation is the system, then still it doesn't count, because for every black person's killed, 2 white persons are killed, and a third person who is neither black or white is being killed.
Yeah.
So.
But even if it wasn't that way, it still wouldn't count, because it still doesn't necessarily say that the system is built like that. It could still be that through some other mechanism there may be more. There may be a reason for more imprisonment, right?
With all respect, to claim systemic racism completely discounts the idea of individuality.
Yes. Yes, because they don't want to look at how you treat individuals. They want to blame you for the treatment of a group based on the treatment of the worst examples of that group.
Exactly.
But they do base it on bias, you know, and that's one of the arguments is widespread bias, and that it's something that's they even bring it to the point that you cannot even see your own bias, obviously. So we don't have to prove it to you, because you won't be able to see it. It's invisible bias. right?
You know, a while back, I got into a conversation with someone, and they essentially almost checkmated me in the conversation. They said the reason crime rates are so high amongst black people is because they police black people more, and I couldn't find any flaw in that. So it took me probably about 2 hours, and I realized, like, there is a way to disprove that. I went and I looked up reported crime by area, and shockingly, there is a higher rate of reported crime amongst highly black communities. And there was no way for them to counter that. Because even if they were to say that, oh, black people report crime more than white people, no. I've lived in highly black areas, especially back when I was in school and couldn't afford anything else. And
so it was reported by black people. Is that what you're saying? Is it?
Well, what I'm saying is that there is obviously more crime because based on the reporting. Now, I'm not saying that white people or black people are more inclined to report. However, living in those highly black areas, I can tell you that, quote, snitches get stitches. Mm-hmm. And that is a very popular mentality. So I essentially
so
like...
though there is, what you say is, even though there is a high barrier against reporting within these areas, people still report these crimes.
Yes, well, and
you can report the crime... Sorry, you can report the crime all you want, but you also have to cooperate with the police to help the investigation along. And if I remember, there's not a lot of cooperation in there, so it's kind of just left to, well, we reported the crime, but now you have to figure everything out, and we're not going to help you figure it out because we don't want to get the shit kicked out of us.
Okay. Shit kicked out of you, that'll result in a shooting. Well, at least in the area I lived in. I mean, I didn't leave the house after dark, let's put it that way.
Mm. There's one thing that I noticed. Tyson Gay's daughter was killed. Right. There was a video on YouTube of this black cop beating the shit out of this black guy. Are there any riots on tonight in the United States because of those two incidents?
No,
Not that I heard of.
I think the riots in Charleston, Baltimore, etc., have kind of offset them from trying to make public social gatherings.
No, because those riots were only when criminals were getting killed by the cops.
That's my point, yes.
It's not an innocent getting killed.
Yeah.
It's only when criminals are getting killed. This is the main point. I mean, they talk about how they feel that, fucking hell, I'm going into it. No, let's continue with this one. Come on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
If you've ever discussed or done a video about black-on-black crime, when are you going to do a video about white-on-white crime and what we, as white people, can do to solve the problems in our community?
Well, I got this one.
Okay, no. I'm going to give it first to Saintclare because he was the one quiet on the last one. Do you remember the exclamation mark thingy? Yeah, we can hear you.
I will make a video on it when it becomes an issue.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, there is that.
When it becomes a significant problem, I will begin to talk about it.
Okay, nobody, you want it in?
Well, the problem is, well, which nobody are you talking to? There's a whole bunch of them here.
I'm the climber, but you can go first.
But the issue with talking to white.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Stop it. Laughter is contagious.
It is. But it's medicine. Come on. Your point first.
I forgot what I was going to say, you bastard.
Oh, God, your memory's fucked. Okay, I'll go first, and I'll probably remind you.
Probably.
I will. We should tackle that issue when 90 and 80%, no, 70% in the United States, or is it 80? The population of whites.
It's 70.
It's 67, so you might as well call it 70.
70. Yeah. Commit. That's exponentially 3 to 4 times more murders than their population. For example, black crime, black murders. If you break it down, it's basically just 3% of the black people, black inhabitants of the United States, committing 50%, more than 50% of the crime, of the murders, in fact. So 3% to 50, we can, if we extrapolate from the 70% to that the same amount, the same exponential value, then yes, of course, we'll tackle that. And,
it's not just 3%. It's not just 3% of the black community. It's 3% of the U.S. population, which is black youths.
Youths, yes, that's what I meant. Yes, yes, that's what I was.
Male black youths.
Male black
specifically, because female blacks, murder is almost unheard of.
Thank you, Saintclare.
But if you look at, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to you, Real Raven. Then Mark Driscoll, but first me. The thing is, if you look at the crime statistics and the amount of crime being prevalent within the black American communities, we all say, well, but the black community, that's 13%. Yeah, but no, because most of the black crime is committed, as we just mentioned, by guys. So that's roughly 6 to 7%. And that 6 or 7% is roughly accountable for more than 50% of violent crime in America. So why are we addressing white crime?
Yeah, and you could even divide it further into the 3% by simply stating the fact that most of the crime is being committed by those under the age of, let's say, 45.
Yeah, and the fact that murder is now the highest rating cause of death among black youth, well, youth between 15 and 35. I mean, it's so high that it's actually considered almost like natural causes. If you hear of a black guy being having died, then it's already assumed that he's been killed. Yes, Real Raven, now it's your floor. Go ahead, mate.
Okay, so just to go back to her question, why do we not care about white and white crime? Actually, we don't care about black on black crime either. We don't actually have that racist lens. The racist lens is only it's pushed on us because there is the accusation of systemic racism. So it's a reaction. We don't need that lens. We don't need to necessarily apply the lens of, oh, is it a black person doing the crime? Is it a white person doing the crime? You have to remember that this is a reaction to the lens that they have applied to saying, hey, the way that blacks are treated by the police is racist. And then we look at it. Right, so we don't need to look at the white side because a similar argument has not been brought up. Right, we don't need that lens. We don't need to apply the lens. There's no point in applying the lens, and there wouldn't even be a point in applying the lens to black people if they hadn't brought up that they have been treated poorly because of their skin color. Right. Mm-hmm. It comes from them, so I have to throw it back at her face. No, we don't need to. We don't need to talk about black on black or black crime either. It's you who brought it up. You brought it up specifically for blacks.
Well,
don't give a shit about whites.
Also,
so that's specifically our answer. Specifically in answer to you applying that lens, that special lens for black people.
Anyway, I'm going to give it to Mark now because Mark wanted to say something too.
Yeah. Well, indeed, the whole lens thing I agree with, but also I probably won't make videos about crime because I just don't really care for criminals.
Well, there is that. But yeah, personally, I don't like the cops killing people. But then again, the cops defending themselves is more than logical to me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a personal taste thing. I don't like people dying. Okay, personal taste.
No, I mean, I don't like people dying, but if you have a police officer pointing a gun at you and telling you to comply, and you start shouting that you're going to kill him...
I am very slightly teasing, okay?
But this shit actually happens. I know it's not you, mate. I know it's not you. But this shit is actually happening, and this is why we are talking about this sort of bullshit, which is, well, annoying maybe.
All I was really going to say earlier was the fact that Christie's response to the statistics of black on black crime is why aren't we talking about white on white crime? It almost feels like she's trying to imply that we're being racist because we're looking at another race's crime statistics, when the reality is she's the one being racist because she expects only white people to care about only white people. Personally, I do care about black communities. I think they're crime-ridden, but I do care about black communities. I lived near one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Anyway, onward.
Let me just get this one thing out, please. This is one of the questions that I just yelled at the screen the first time I saw this video.
Okay.
But when she now, having seen a lot of the anti-SJW videos, I can see that black on black crime is only ever brought up by our side. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't seen everybody's videos, but when black on black crime is brought up by the anti-SJW side of things, it's always in response to the Black Lives Matter people saying white people are killing black people. Yeah. And it's a response to, well, more black people are killing more black people than white people. So why aren't you worried about that? And that is the only time black on black crime is ever brought up, at least as far as I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. They force us to use the lens.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't perceive it as an issue because they believe that when a black kills another black, that person is typically prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and punished for their crimes. Now, their issue is that they have the perception. I'm getting an echo from somebody, but they have a perception. Okay, they have the perception that when police officers kill black Americans, they are doing so unreasonably, and the police officers are not being punished for what they perceive as a crime. So the issue is that people aren't being. The issue with Black Lives Matter is that they perceive that people aren't being punished for crime.
Yeah.
Police officers specifically.
Which they are, because they are being sent to jail too.
The reason they don't talk about black on black crime is because they perceive that the black criminals who kill other black Americans are punished for their crimes.
The police aren't just being punished, their lives are being destroyed if the accusation's thrown around. It's almost like being accused of shooting a black guy, period, is as bad as accusing some dude of rape.
That's actually something that did happen, because not too long ago I heard of a police officer, a female police officer, who got the shit kicked out of her, and she refused to pull her gun because she was afraid what the story would be.
Oh yeah, and she was fighting for her life for a while, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's been to hospital and all. But she should have just shot the motherfucker. Exactly. But she didn't, because she was afraid of the backlash that the media would give her. Even though she is a victim. She is the one that got attacked.
Something I never thought I'd hear you say, Modwain. She should have just shot the motherfucker.
Well, yeah, no.
That is racist.
That's okay.
Racist.
I don't care. I like the fact that he said it. I'm sorry.
There are boundaries to what we should.
Hitler racist.
No, you can call me racist as well. It's an empty word anyway. I mean,
God.
And if you tase a person and he doesn't go down, don't you automatically just draw your gun? Like, fucking comply or we shoot.
Especially the dude was high. Come on, and he wasn't even high. He wasn't high on marijuana. He was using some hard drugs. Anyway, let's continue. I mean,
I just want to point out that Christy Winters is now the worst person I've ever seen in my life. She has her own face as her desktop wallpaper.
Yes, I didn't even notice that.
That doesn't scream narcissistic whatsoever.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, okay.
No, I think she's
editing a video in the background.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
I
thought those were her
no.
bookmarks and stuff.
No, that looks like Adobe Premiere Final Cut or whatever. She spends an exorbitant amount of money to put out bullshit videos. You know that much.
Because she
can't confirm. She wastes money.
She has a PhD.
Yeah, my movie editing skills are crap. I only use VSDC, but I'm very happy with that one.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Let's go on and go to Draco Malfoy again.
Why are the literal teenagers' different definition of racism from you so horrifying that you all have to go, no! No, we have to stop him! We've got to debunk him now! Ah! Wherever did you get...
Hey, okay, sorry.
Okay, the rambling, you go first. Then Carlos, then Cheshire, then Saintclare. I need to go for a bio. I'll be right back.
Because that goddamn teenager's opinion and definition of racism calls every single person in existence out for having a bias that they don't necessarily have. That single person labeled every motherfucker in existence, including you blonde-headed little plaid-wearing shit, a racist just because you continue to breathe. Every thought that leaves your mouth, every thought that enters your head, and every reaction, facial and physical, that you have to any person that you exist around is considered racist under Milo's definition of racism.
Yeah, no
The fact that you are sitting here trying to defend this is disgusting. Get over yourself. Drop dead. Drink bleach.
Am I next? Yeah. I'm here to debunk the biological aspect of race. The race was coined in the more or less in the mid 18th century to differentiate between the British Empire, the Europeans, and the peoples that they met. So it is a derogative term, but it does not describe our biology. There is no such thing as a Homo sapiens Caucasus, for example. Race is a subspecies, and we are the subspecies, humans, modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens. So that's my definition of rape. Here, Dumbledore, or this little shit kicker, and anyone who tries to use that word race are talking shit. You can use bigot, you can use xenophobe, whatever you want, but race does not exist. Thank you.
Well, Modwain is Dumbledore, and we're here to school this motherfucker.
Thank you. Exactly. That I rambled on. Go on, guys.
I was just gonna say that this fucking Ken doll is a dick, because the whole reason anyone who's in the sort of...
He's got a dick neck anyway.
Yeah.
He looks like a rejected brat's boyfriend prototype.
I'm sorry, I just found that really funny.
Anyway, the whole reason that anyone who's in like the sort of anti-SJW camp goes after these people is their definition of racist obviously changes from person to person because they're so fucking inconsistent. But that basically means they bring a new argument to the table. So naturally, we have to show them sort of the errors that are in their arguments, if they are deeply flawed, like Milo's is. That's like the whole reason anyone cares to talk about these people. If she was, if the SJW movement thing wasn't, an actual thing, no one would give a shit if some crazy transgender saying we're all racist.
Well, there's also the simple fact sorry, I will respect his pronouns, but his view on racism is reflective of the entire SJW movement. And this is what everyone is saying, and we had never seen it so concentrated into a single human being before. This perfect example of what's wrong with the view on racism finally popped up. And so, of course... Yeah, completely distilled into one human being. And, of course, everybody's going to jump on it. This is what's wrong with the world right now. This person right here has this warped view on reality, and we need to tell you why it's wrong.
And completely take the fact he's using TJ's video. Completely take TJ's video out of it. His views are still wrong. And TJ makes some decent points. If you completely take the hate and vitriol out of both sides of the equation, you still have a finely built wall on one side and a collection of doublethink and false narratives on the other. Which one do you think is going to stand up to the hurricane?
Did you just say that TJ makes some decent points?
Yes.
Well, he has his good days.
He does.
Go drink bleach for saying TJ made good points. All right, I'm done.
I drink bleach on a regular basis. I'll have you know.
I'm just teasing, okay?
I know you are. Calm down.
Anyway, you have a point to make as well, Saintclare?
Yeah. The reason why we argue against a teenager is because their argument is incorrect, and we want to tell them that they're incorrect. I don't care who they are. I don't care who you are or what you identify as. If you make an argument that's incorrect, I'm going to argue against that argument. If you make an argument that I perceive to be incorrect, I'm going to argue against it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, because basically what he is saying, Milo Tweety Bird is saying something really stupid and you all fall over it. And at the same time, there are two options. One, you agree with this person or you disagree with this person. Those are the two options. But you're not allowed to disagree with this person because this person is weak and soft and whatnot. So
how dare he?
But then who's being discriminatory towards Milo? I mean, I take her point on value and I argue on the value I have. He is saying, no, you shouldn't do that to this person.
Also, I'm only 3 years older than Milo. Is he essentially saying that I can't argue with her because of a simple age difference?
You know, they act like no one on their side has done this too. Remember that, what's-his-face who attacked the little
that
kid?
12-year-old kid.
Yeah, the 12-year-old kid who was a fan of Undoomed who got attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
then again,
perfect shining example.
Yeah, then again, I think that some people on our side, like Bering and Kraut, went a little bit too overboard in criticizing him because, like, you criticized a 12-year-old. Well, they disagreed with the points they were making.
Yeah, no, the guy attacked the 12-year-old, and he didn't really attack him on arguments. So
he just kind of attacked him.
He just attacked him because he's 12 years old and he's stupid and he didn't know anything.
On about the guy who apologized after making that video?
I'm not sure if he apologized. I didn't really look into it that long.
He did. He even said he was going to keep it up as a reminder of how dark his channel was or some shit like that.
I remember that.
He was trying to martyr himself.
Are you talking about the atheist gamer?
Is that what it was?
Bering even had him on a stream to explain himself?
No. That was the kid that came out with some arguments. And that kid got attacked by someone else. And Bering attacked the person attacking the kid.
Yeah.
And that kid got a chance to go on Bering's channel.
Yeah, the dude that sort of like attacked him, well, say attacked on YouTube, he didn't make very coherent arguments about it. He was just sort of skitting the kid.
Yeah, he was just basically...
That's kind of beside the point, in my opinion, in my view.
No, you're right. I mean, the thing is, it's not that they aren't allowed to argue his points. Unfortunately, in this example, they argued the boy and not the point. So,
which is the problem.
Which is actually a problem. But this is what this guy is saying we do to Milo. But when we talk about Milo, we talk about the stances Milo takes.
Not so much the character of what Milo is.
Yeah. Anyway.
Even though I think Milo's character
I was going to say, not very much like her character either. But let's go.
Yeah, gender dysphoria 101.
She's obnoxious, so whatever.
She is. Anyway, onward.
Okay. Let's continue.
I would definitely not have tea with her. I wouldn't rape her either.
You wouldn't.
I was so waiting for that one.
You know what? I might.
Yeah, now the question is, which one of us is wrong? The ones that say you won't rape her, or the ones that say you will rape her?
Well, I won't.
I won't rape either.
Are we ready?
Me and Robin Gething had a funny exchange over.
Now that's a face only a mother could love.
Yeah, that is true too. Though.
Okay, I'm gonna just start.
Where did you get the idea that racism was a?
No, that's a face not even a mother could love.
And if the only true racists are the racists who self-identify as racists, how can we ever expect to make any social progress to reduce racism? Or did I just answer my own question?
What?
All right. I'm surprised I'm not blocked already from watching this video. I'm surprised this video hasn't blocked me already. But the thing is he's answering this from his point of view. He already views the definition of racism as power plus prejudice. However, he's not taking into account that we define racists as people who hate other races or believe their race is superior. He's arguing from the fact that racism is power plus prejudice. Excuse my stutter.
Power plus bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And so therefore he's saying that, anybody who you define as racist must be somebody who identifies as racist. No, that's not how this works, mate. We're saying that your definition is bullshit, and that these guys over here saying that they should kill all white people, those are racists. You're arguing from a inferior position and asking a loaded question that you even yourself said you have already answered, because he's only seeing it from his side. He's not approaching it from our view.
I think the very simple way to put that is he molds his definition of racism to the people. We mold our definition of racism. We mold our people to the definition of racism. If that makes sense.
Not a lot, but I'll give you a second chance to do that. Saintclare, go on, mate. You wanted to say something.
There is a straw man contained within his question. The straw man being, if only people who identify as racists can be called racists, blah, 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 blah. I've never heard anybody on this side make that argument. The people who care about identity are the progressives. We don't give a damn about what you identify as. We give a damn about what you actually are.
Yeah, what your actions are and things like that.
I fully subscribe to that. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I mean, who self-identifies as racist? That would mean that somebody would say, "I'm a racist." Maybe.
There's people who do that.
Well, that too.
That's the thing, though.
It's kind of stupid.
How many of you?
What he really, I think, what he's trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you say things that identify you as racist, but we are the ones who identify you. It's not you self-identify. It's actually us projecting it onto you, and then we just call it self-identification. It's not.
Well, there is that.
That's what I was going to bring up. Who here actually knows and has had repeat conversation with an actual racist, someone who genuinely just hates a race of people because of their race?
You know,
I
actually never
live in
have.
rural farmland. I've met a few Bubba Rays and Billy Bobs that want to lynch all the black folk.
I've spoken to a few people like that. Yeah, they don't identify themselves as racist. They just say that as their view. There isn't like no grand identity of, oh, I'm a racist.
I've spoken with some people who are alt-right, and even they're segregationalist, but that doesn't mean that they view one race as greater than another.
I'm talking about people who have genuinely, like black people as inferior.
That's exactly the problem.
My best friend's father.
I didn't understand the rest of the question because I didn't understand the premise.
My best friend's father's family is actually.
Not all racism is the same. Not all racism.
Come on, let's give rambling a time.
I apologize.
Racism is not a monolith.
Just to answer Cheshire, my best friend's father's family line is actually part of the KKK in Alabama. So I've had extended conversations with the man, and he's a pretty cool guy. His views have definitely mellowed over the years from what I've heard from everyone else in the family, so I can't say that he's a full-blown racist anymore. It also probably helps that his daughter's friends is, multicultural, we shall say, and they're over there a lot, so he gets a lot of experience with other races. But I've had a lot of conversation with the man, and he doesn't really call himself a racist. He just says, I don't care for these people, or I don't care for that, or he'll make an off-color joke or an off-color comment, but he won't say anything to anyone directly.
Well, since you've been so truthful, I'll say the main person I've spoken to who has those sort of views is my girlfriend's father. And he's, like you've said about your guy, he's a completely nice guy, but he just sees other races as inferior.
Yeah, he's perfect. They're perfectly fine people. They just have a different mindset.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I have a friend that was like that as well. Unfortunately, he died not too long ago.
Hmm.
Funny enough, though, he had a pretty racist view of the world, and he saw confirmation in his views in the behavior of, the criminal elements of these groups. But eventually, his daughter married one black guy, and that black guy was also part of the Dutch military, and he was basically one of the good guys, so to speak. So that kind of did change his viewpoints, but it changed his viewpoints about this guy.
Not the entire race,
Not
just
the
the
entire
Yeah,
race.
exactly.
And the problem that Steve Shives has here, which I could attribute to the person in your story, is confirmation bias.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them refuses to look beyond what they want to see is there. I'm
That
sorry,
big
Steve.
blowjob face.
I'm sorry, Steve. You didn't answer your own question. You just proved what an idiot you are.
Yeah.
You like the jackass.
Shives has the best faces. I tell you.
Yeah. It's asking a question about how we can deal with self-identified racists. His entire speech has named him, but he's self-identified as a racist essentially by claiming the racism of like white people and things like that in the past.
You know how you deal with self-identified racists? You get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only thing you can do. You get to know them, and you just try to ask them about their view. Try to get them to see things differently.
Yep.
Yeah, but Steve Shives is much, much too insular for that.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
no, he doesn't want to know what you think. He wants you to think what he thinks.
Yeah.
There's an old joke that I work in psychiatry for a long time, and I have used in the prison system as well. And there's a very old joke we used to tell people, the kids I work with and criminals I've worked with. If I want your opinion, I will give it to you. And it's a joke, but he lives it.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho.
Steve Shives is the Hank Hill of feminists, and he just expects
move
everyone
on.
else to be
Or
Bill.
did I just answer my own question?
You often say that you are for equality of opportunity, but if people of color, for instance, have to overcome barriers whites do not, such as discrimination and unequal treatment, as are well documented in various studies,
Citation
how can the
needed.
current situation be thought of as equal opportunity in any real way, and why do you consider it racist to discuss these issues?
Who is considering it racist to discuss these issues?
Yeah, discussing issues is not inherently racist unless it's what to do with this Jew problem. I mean,
I think then the premise is racist. I mean, the discussion itself probably not, but the premise probably.
Well, I mean, there was a man named Hitler. He had a pretty good idea. He had a
No,
pretty decent start.
he had an idea. I won't call it a good one.
Oh no, it was his domestic policy. It had nothing to do with the Holocaust. Nobody ever talks about Hitler's domestic policy.
Well, in all fairness, I love it when feminists complain about how you're for the rape. How do you call it? Rape culture. If you're for certain things, and they call you Hitler at bloody 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 blah if you disagree with them on anything. So ask them, how do they like their long weekends? I mean, if anyone could claim ownership of that, it's Hitler.
Somebody in the chat told me to say, smash salt like Poon. Christiosity. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan Pyle.
So move on. This was me.
Anyway, Cheshire, you wanted to add to the point.
Yeah, I was going to basically deconstruct this. What people get somewhat... She says that people get think it's racist to discuss like discrimination and stuff like that of people of color and things like that. What she actually means to say is that it's a very sort of heated debate. But the reason it's a heated debate is the claims are made as like a sort of... This is because of like white society sort of thing. Like you as a white person have to give up things to make this right, you know, like reparations and things like that. And there should be quotas in places of business, so we have this many black people and things like that. And
You
then,
want equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity.
exactly. that's the whole crux of the argument. Well, our part of the argument, where it's we don't want to have to be racist to not be racist, I guess.
But doesn't the whole idea of equality of outcome destroy the whole concept of merit?
Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
And he's slightly racist as well.
Yeah, and then she tries to like sort of back herself up with very like increasingly vague sort of things. It's like, of some discrimination that's been found in some studies. It's just like be more specific.
It's those BuzzFeed like tests where they the job applications with 2 different names, John and Jamal or whatever, you know.
Hey! BuzzFeed is the cutting edge of modern news.
Well, it's definitely a cutting edge of something.
Well, but that's the thing, though. I mean, what she's projecting here is critical theory. You have to give everyone equal opportunity, especially the ones that don't have it.
Everyone.
It's like Animal Farm from what's his face. All animals are created equal, but some animals are created more equal.
George
Orwell, thank you very much.
All animals are created equal just as long as they're on my plate.
Yeah.
No, some animals, all animals are created equal. However, some are more equal than others.
Yep, and that's basically the Frankfurt School of Thinking. That's basically critical theory. That's basically what feminism has been pushing, what Black Lives Matter has been pushing, what that fallism is pushing now. Our idea is. Sorry, go ahead.
The Frankfurt School. I knew it was the Jews all along.
No, Frankfurt School isn't Jewish, mate.
I know, but that's
okay. It's based off of Karl Marx's ideas. But I think even Karl Marx would spin around in his grave if he saw what happened now.
Didn't Karl Marx spin around in his grave before he died?
Well, he's lying the right way around again now.
That's what CheshireCat said from a while ago about his grandmama. His grandmama was all like, yeah, you have to beat the white man by following his system. So you can rub it in even harder.
Yeah.
But that's how it used to be. I mean, that's when black people were actually trying to compete in the market and trying to be as good or even better than white people. Now they're just competing in the market by saying that they should be handed stuff.
Well, I mean, the only thing they invented was peanut butter, so...
The vast majority of successful black families today became successful in the 1970s between the time that blacks received in America equal rights and opportunities and the time
before
the new left sort of took over.
Yeah, before
the time period, that's when most of the current successful black families earned their success.
Yeah, before handouts. As soon as the handouts started, the black community collapsed upon itself. But you see this, for example, with the Native Americans as well. You have Native Americans that live on government lands with government money and government handouts, and you have Native Americans that live on free land and they can do whatever the fuck they want, so they started loads of casinos and they're wealthy.
Business.
They also have a football team to show for it.
Oh.
Yeah, they have
Football team, a couple of baseball teams.
What we need is to give the black people a sports team.
Don't they have sports, though?
No. We need to give them the right to name it. They play them all, but they're all playing for white people teams. They need a black people team.
But
that'll
they used
solve
to have
everything.
But they used to have a black, competition. So basically, what you're saying now is maybe we should go back into segregating.
The Sacramento Spear Chuckers.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to give them a team that's named after black people, like the Negroes. the Atlanta Negroes.
The New
Mexico
Negroes.
So,
the New Mexican Negroes.
Okay, I think we're losing here. Okay, yes, we're going to continue. Okay, we're going to continue. Come on, we're going to continue.
We have 1.5 minutes, and we took 45 minutes for that.
Yeah, come on, let's move on. Let's move on.
I don't see us finishing in 2 hours unless you want to only do like 2 more answers.
No, well, let's continue. I know I'm crap at this.
Do you understand basic English syntax? Like, if I say this cat is pretty, I don't mean that all other cats aren't pretty. Like, do you really not get why saying all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter?
I'm just going to be the only one to respond to this one. I'm sorry. This is bullshit. If you still don't understand the difference between why people say Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter, if you still don't get it, you're a retard. You can go fuck yourself, jump off a building and get yourself out of the gene pool. This is stupid. No one is saying Black Lives Matter is bad because they say Black Lives Matter. We say Black Lives Matter is bad because they are segregating. Go ahead. Sorry.
All I wanted to say was I'm beginning to think that he doesn't fully understand. Do you not understand that when we say that our president is a nigger, we're not calling all black people niggers, we're just calling that president a nigger?
Okay, that's not quite what I had in mind, but fair enough.
It's as black and white as that can be.
Saintclare, what did you want to say, mate?
It's absolutely ridiculous to say something like Black Lives Matter, because clearly not all Black Lives Matter. First of all.
True that.
For the same reason, it's ridiculous to say that all lives matter, because clearly not all lives matter. Not all lives have value.
No, but you're all equally worthless.
Clown lives matter.
Okay.
Some
Anyway, let's
lives
move
have
on.
value, but it's based on your own subjective viewpoint.
We don't have to stay on this one very long because we all agree it's stupid. Let's move on.
Absolutely.
It's not only racially insensitive, but just patently ridiculous.
Yes, you are, mate.
To men to assume
Fuck
that
off,
a
yeah.
man could only ever want equality for women and therefore be comfortable with feminism as a whole in order to get laid, and that reduces us to beasts. If that was the case, wouldn't I attempt to get laid from my views instead of not ever trying that?
You failed.
Indeed. He
No.
always does.
I'm going to defend Tim here. I like Tim. Tim's a good dude. But I think he got called a white knight one too many times. I honestly think that's exactly what happened.
It's also exactly what he is.
Actually, no. You know what? I will defend him. I honestly liked him. I've interacted with him numerous times. He's a really nice guy. And I think he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing. He's fighting the good fight. I've called him a faggot on numerous occasions, and he typically likes the tweet and laughs about it. So I give him the benefit of the doubt when he says he is not a white knight, and he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing.
He's one of the good ones.
So what you're saying is you're biased.
Yeah.
He's one of the good ones.
Which means the fact that you have a bias means we can't take anything you say literally.
No, listen.
Well, my bias does come from reality. Like, I do consider him a really good dude because. No, yeah, all right. You can laugh at the fact that I said my bias comes from reality, but it does. I genuinely believe he's fighting the good. He believes he's fighting the good fight.
Well, he's not. Fair enough.
He believes he's Three Dog. We get it.
One second. Let's give Real a time to talk.
Okay, all I would say is that gynocentrism, or even just caring for women or feminist issues or female issues, is necessarily always connected to courtship and all that bullshit. There is such a thing as empathy. We're all capable of it, I think. So yeah, I don't think that's a universal accusation against him.
Fair enough.
I only object for him using the term beasts. The way he uses it. We are animals, and we are biological animals, and we are great apes, etc. And it is normal that we like the opposite sex. But even though there are people who like the same sex, that's absolutely fine. That's normal as well. It's when they try to, I know he's a good guy. I am not saying that he's not. He's the more reasonable of the white knights
Yeah, but that's not a real accomplishment, to be honest.
You know, I think the only reason he fielded this question was because Steve Shives couldn't look the camera in the face.
Probably, yeah, exactly. That's why.
But Carlos, I think you're right. It shows more of his perspective as a, the intellectual, what's the middle class kind of educated kind of perspective. That kind of, oh yeah, that beastly thing. We don't have it.
Cock?
Yeah.
No, not a cock. No, that's yeah, of course. But yeah.
No. As for people questioning whether or not he has white knights have an ulterior motive of getting laid, I can only really think of two somewhat explanations for that. My view is, myself included in this, is that people who say those sort of things are somewhat cynical in the idea of, they will always believe there's some kind of ulterior motive behind it. And second part is probably going to be me talking out my arse, since I know barely anything about psychology, but somewhat like Raven said, the best way to start and build relationships and things like that is to show you have, empathy, common interests, things like that. You have to build a relationship first before things like sexual gratification come into the equation. So you can obviously plan ahead, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that also shows that how little they hold the women in how little
regard they sort of have
they hold, because saying that we can actually we can actually trick them into thinking that we are with them and getting laid.
It's like the little engine that could.
Yeah, but exactly. Unfortunately, this actually does happen, though. How many male feminists have been called out for their sexual misbehavior? More than anti-feminists have, to be honest.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, off the back of what Cheshire was saying, it may be a cynical point of view to the world, but cynicism comes with reality slapping you in the face, and you realize that most of the people in the world are just out for number one.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but reality has a hard way of smacking cynicism into everyone, be it with a hammer or with a light slap to the face.
Anyway, I'm willing to believe you, Martius, that this guy isn't as bad as I think he is. I really do. Unfortunately, what I have seen of him doesn't paint him that beautiful to me. But that could be my bias.
Yeah, I liked him in the after debate stream with Edgy.
Okay, Saintclare, you're the last one.
I do have a very cynical view of the world, and I think where that comes from, where the view that they're just doing it to get laid, where that comes from is the progressive movement, particularly feminism, is seen as, essentially being a hero for women. And men are very attracted to whatever it is that would make them be seen as a hero in the eyes of females. Because being seen as a hero in the eyes of females is a precursor to, mating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the optimistic outlook on it, where they want to be the hero so they can show that they are, like you said.
Feminism is their mighty sword and shield for slaying whatever dragon they fabricate in their own minds.
Yeah, exactly.
That is exactly. That is the most. Just to finish up, that is the most condescending thing he can ever do to a woman.
And he keeps doing it. Anyway. Let's continue with from him.
If you say you're an egalitarian, will you call out the man-hating slurs?
Okay, you know what? Just skip this one. Why do we have to have talk and thought and word policing on people? I'm sorry. If you make a joke, you make a joke. Period. I'm not going to call you out on it.
With a lot of these things, can I also add that it's more of a case of you do it first and then we will. So the thing is, you're calling us out for, like she said, of we don't call out, very aggressive people who really hate women, but they don't call out people who hate men. They pretty much support them.
Yes, and they will all do the same when they start calling out the violence they are actually doing these days.
Mm.
We've seen
Yeah, they
it
don't
in-
have. I don't notice. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead,
I'll let you
Saintclare.
finish. I don't notice. I don't
yeah.
notice very many internal arguments within their ranks.
Exactly.
Yes, as well. Yes. Yep. I'll do that, or like I was just saying, I'll do that when they stop, and they call out the violence that they are actually perpetrating. When they were accusing of, they're basically emulating the right from about, the extreme right. I mean, so when they call that violence out, I will call out tweets and comment sections, the comments.
I will not be calling out tweets. I will
won't.
not be calling out comments. I will be encouraging any comment anybody wants to say, no matter how cancerous it is, because words are life. Words are the most important thing that we as a species can have. Without words, we wouldn't have gotten past fire. We wouldn't have gotten to the wheel. We wouldn't have had people sitting around a table discussing how do we best bring about liberty.
And when somebody says something, and when somebody says something that we determine to be incendiary, you can never be 100% confident that they're being serious when they're saying that. At least I'm never 100% confident when they say something incendiary.
Unless they're sitting in front of me, you can never really be sure of things like that.
Well, it's very difficult to display emotion over text.
Exactly.
Well, I just used my words to really incendiary. This guy, the Daily Mail celebrity, Playboy model Kate May died when chiropractor tore open an artery, treating a neck injury. I wrote, awesome.
Yeah, but this is the thing that pisses me off, though.
We were kind of cutting her short.
Yeah, no, we just skip the rest of her. I mean, the whole argument is, you're not allowed to say certain things, and if you do, you're wrong. And I'm like, what the fuck? Ever heard of this concept called free speech?
And she put it into context with questioning the term egalitarian as well.
Yes, which pisses me off, which genuinely pisses me off. I mean, someone who believes in equal rights believes in equal rights. And I'm sorry, if I have the right to say what I want to say, you have the right to say what you want to say. I might not like it, but that's my problem. But she's defending people who speak like she does. But if people say something she doesn't like, they're being silenced. I'm sorry. There is nothing more totalitarian than that. You're not an egalitarian if you do that.
Okay. Yeah, one of my favorite...
God.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of my favorite videos I've ever seen from a smaller YouTuber. I absolutely love Danny Duchamp. The guy's great.
I like him too.
Yeah. And he had his whole entire video devoted to free speech and what kinds of speech should be allowed and should be allowed. And his bottom line was all speech could and should be allowed because, and I back this up 100%, although I have an additional thing to add that he didn't. How are you going to know if what they're saying is bad if you don't hear them say it first? That was his whole point. And on top of that, what if things like, I mean, we wouldn't have America if it wasn't for a group of guys sitting around talking about calls to action, calls to overturning injustices. Without any of that, we wouldn't have America. We wouldn't have countries like even the Netherlands. They broke away.
True.
God, Portugal was essentially a dictatorship. What would have happened if they hadn't sat around at a table saying just shit that could have been considered treasonous? I mean, it's you cannot ban any words. You cannot call out people on saying things you don't like.
Not to mention that just about anything you could say could be somehow lead to action. Just about anything you could say.
Everything that is said can be considered hate speech by someone. And at the same time, I don't believe there is this thing called hate speech. Hate speech is a value given to something. That value is given by someone. Now, if I decide that what you're doing is hate speech, we're no longer talking about free. We're talking about based narrative. I am deciding what you are allowed to say. She's deciding which jokes we are allowed to make.
Yeah. It's postmodernism killing itself, right?
This is the Frankfurt School.
You know,
again.
you're losing all the values, and then you erect new ones.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid.
But this is the Frankfurt School again. This is neo-Marxism in a way. This is trying to shape society. We believe in the shapeable society. We have to change the world to suit
what
us.
they see is they're very good at destructing, but they're not very good at building something new.
No.
You know, because you know, when they try to build something new, they immediately destruct it again. There's turfs, and you know, there's you know, their own free speech and their own safe spaces biting themselves into the in the arse, so they make themselves ineffective by self-policing.
Not only are they unable to create something, they take what already exists and they mutate it into something grotesque, like Morgoth.
Yeah. Anyway, did you want to say something as well, Mark?
No.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Sex with a woman. That's rather offensive. What are you doing to stop this kind of behavior
that's
in your
offensive.
community?
What?
That's offensive.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, we're getting on the edge of the end. Come on.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, Mr. Moriarty.
What is the number of followers, the number of likes, the number of dislikes, the number of retweets, the number of subscribers, any of those numbers, any of those
Oh,
methods?
skip this.
What have they got to do with the argument?
Nothing.
Yeah, okay. Done. Nothing. Everyone agree that it has nothing to do with the argument?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Okay, next one.
For example,
Yeah.
a man who trots out an endless mention on and follows you.
Martius has, what, 30 subscribers? And his arguments on history are better than Sargon's. So,
Sorry?
pertaining to history.
Okay,
Speaking about me, this guy triggers me. Fuck your toga, fuck your columns.
Let-
You're
let's-
appropriating my culture.
Yes.
Trigger warnings and delicate little flowers, but continue to hide behind your cartoon avatars and your childish pseudonyms. And whenever anyone calls you out on your sexist, racist, homophobic, bigoted rhetoric, you become the argument of your own scorn and are hashtag triggered, as they say.
Okay.
All right.
Saintclare, go ahead. Saintclare first. Saintclare first.
I'll tell you why a lot of these guys hide behind avatars, and it's quite simple. It's out of fear, because a lot of these people live in nations where their opinions could get them into legal trouble.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, they could lose their jobs. They could be the subject of scorn from their communities. There's a lot of danger involved in thinking the way that we think, which is essentially, I hate to use this term, but anti-establishment. Our opinions are against the current order of things, and that's a dangerous position to be in.
Carlos?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, what Saintclare said. It's a dangerous thing to do. People like us, we have to anti-SJW. We have to hide behind avatars and etc. But he's being hypocritical, because in that video there were 3 people at least that were hiding behind an avatar. Curiosity, the one with the thumbnail, and I think there was another one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why are they hiding?
To call others
why?
out.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I agree. Yeah. Just saying that I agree with what Saintclare said. Yes, there is a danger. We've seen it. We've seen people losing their jobs. For example, what Clementine Ford did to that simple guy that retweeted her what she had said in Australia. And that's a thing. But again, like I said,
look at America. Look at the United Kingdom. Tim Hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a Nobel Prize.
To call people on the other side out for things that people in your movement do that you knowingly don't question the same as you would the other movement is hypocritical and dishonest, and you lose all credibility beyond what you already didn't have, sir.
Yeah.
Please check yourself.
And I also want to call him out on his criticism of the avatars and the names. First of all, he said cartoon avatar. I made mine myself in 3D. It took quite a while, and I'm very proud of it. And second of all, childish names. My name is Latin. It translates as the son of Mars, because I like to view myself as the son of masculinity. And it's all very it's all very contextual. It's all very artistic and idea driven, and to just dismiss it because I am not showing my face, I am not telling my real name, but I am very proud of my stuff, and to just dismiss it like that, it just triggers me, especially while he's in a toga surrounded by columns.
Cheshire?
Oh, well, pretty much all my stuff was kind of covered by Saintclare. The only sort of slight thing I would note as well, it's not, although it is overridingly the fact that we could get caught out in our country, such as the UK and that, I also do have to mention things online as well. Like, I wouldn't want any of my information leaking out onto the web, whether it was by an SJW or a random person in general. Sorry, I just had to bow out for a sec.
Okay. Mark?
Yep. Well, on top of that, it shouldn't matter if anybody hides behind an avatar or something. It's the ideas that matter. Who gives a fuck if you're hiding behind an avatar, you know?
Well, something I like to do when people try and call me out on my avatar and my lack of name on Twitter is I typically will retweet them and say, the line usually goes something like, "You're a coward because you won't show your face and tell your name." So I'll take it one step further. I'll add some hyperbole to that. I'll be like, "Well, you're a coward because you won't post your address and social security number."
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just keep amping it up and amping it up because just to show them how hypocritical they're being. Why is this piece of information more important than this piece of information?
Whoever edited this series of questions together did a very, very poor job of it, because this came directly after Moriarty's question of what does it have to do with the argument?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, Real Raven, you're going to be the last one.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of point out that he uses some false equivalencies. He says, like, you're attacking people and saying they're delicate flowers or they have bad ideas or they should feel bad, and he comes out openly with his face, with his name, and uses terms like racist, homophobe, stuff like that. Now, you can actually use these terms without. It's very cheap to use these terms to call somebody that. And you don't need to do too much proofing unless you publish it in a newspaper or something as fact. It's just a comment. It's really cheap and it's really simple to throw out, and it's very hard to defend against that. To say, well, I'm not a racist because but I have black friends or whatever. It's actually really hard to defend that, and it's really simple to throw it out without. It falling back onto you.
Yeah.
That's what the social justice crowd do. They just do. They throw out this at very little cost. They throw out these little terms. You're homophobe, you're a woman hate or whatever, and they just claim it. And then the position is, and it's on you to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
And there's no cost to them.
No, because there is no risk for them.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to.
It doesn't matter whether they show their face when they do it, because it's such a horrendous or pedophile or whatever. It's such a horrendous accusation that you have to be really quick to say no, I'm not. Yeah,
I've had a discussion with him in one of his movies, and basically on everything I said, he was being sarcastic. Unfortunately, I had information that he wanted, so basically he didn't realize how much of a fool he made of himself. In the end, he was really trying to force me to tell him what he wanted to know, and I'm like, no, mate, sorry, you had your chance. But yeah, I mean, he is such an hypocritical douchebag. I wouldn't be surprised if within a year from now we will hear the most worrying tales from this dude, because he is narcissistic and he is completely willing to believe in himself.
Maybe
totally
he
No,
has toxic reality.
Yeah,
there are already some stories out about him.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're going to hear about toxic realism.
Yeah, toxic
realism. Anyway, let's continue. Let's get away from this hamster.
Publicly acknowledge and admonish the massive amount of hatred, bullying, harassment, and intimidation that a lot of your fans infringe upon people. And I don't mean these tiny disclaimers that you put under the description folder flash for 2 seconds at the beginning of the video that you know nobody reads? I mean, a public and ongoing anti-bullying stance. Or do you kind of like watching your fans go around harassing people and calling them slurs and telling them to kill themselves?
Either or.
He's talking about Bering. He's directly addressing Bering in that question. I mean,
Yeah, and the
nobody
worst
else
part
is known for it more than Bering.
Yeah, and the worst thing is that Bering is constantly telling people not to bully. And at the same time, let's talk about people like Tim Hunt, who lost his job. Let's talk about people that lose their job because they disagree with Clementine Ford. Let's talk about people that land a space lander on an asteroid and then get bullied off the stage because of their T-shirt, which they were given by a woman.
Matt Taylor.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, but it
Matt
never
Taylor.
goes both
Follow
ways.
him on Twitter. It's Matt Taylor. For the love of
Yeah.
God, people follow this guy because he needs more attention and more love than he has ever gotten. Matt Taylor. Follow him, please.
Can you give us a link?
Is it
Yeah.
MGGT Taylor?
Yes, it is.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
But
my
I'll put
follower.
his
Awesome.
I'll
Yes.
put his Twitter handle in the chat, in the stream chat.
Okay, I'll try to put it under the text of this thingy, because that are the people that really, really need support. And who do they need support from? From people like you, the one janitor. Anyway, that's my 2 cents ramblings. Go ahead, mate.
You know, I had actually did a video on this about people with higher status voicing their opinions and then having people react inside or, you know, in kind with that person's opinion, although it was more geared towards the election. And in that video, I mentioned that no one on YouTube really, short of Let's Players and PewDiePie and people who scream into the camera nonsensically, have the sort of clout or high standing to really control what their viewers do. So besides stating their own personal opinion on the matter, which many of them will do, including Bering, as people have said earlier, you can't really expect them to do much beyond that, because they don't really have much sway other than people are there for their ideas and their opinions, and what they do with them beyond that point, they can't be in control of.
Yeah.
You completely discount the idea of individuality, once again, which is something that SJWs always seem to do. They like to play grouping ideas without accounting for everyone's individual thoughts and actions.
The collective. Are we done?
I have nothing to add. Yeah, I have nothing to add. So
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess that's
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark wanted to say something. Mark?
Also, with the whole bullying thing, it's like, just like, grow a fucking thicker skin. If a couple words on the internet offends you, like, fuck off with that shit.
I'll say something here because this is sort of a guilty pleasure of mine. Usually when I make a response video, because of the problems involved with it, I will not link the original person's video. Usually. Unless I have a specific dislike for the person. Unless the person legitimately pissed me off. In which case I will put the link because I know people will follow it and give that person vitriol. And you know what? You know what, janitor? Me personally, speaking for myself, I do enjoy that. Yeah, I do.
Well, I'm gonna go, guys. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm not saying much either.
That's okay, Tex. Thanks for joining. Hopefully next time will be better for you, mate.
It was nice to meet you, Tex.
see you, man.
Later.
Peace.
Okay, let's continue with the stream then.
Why do you find it so hard to believe that feminists are being harassed online?
Do you understand the stop?
Oh.
Why do you find it so hard to believe that anti-feminists are being harassed online?
It's basically the same question.
Because breathing next to a feminist means you're harassing them. That's why.
You just have to You just have to give them your name and you're harassing them.
It's harassment to them is such a fluid term.
Teach men. No, we need to teach men not to blink rape.
Well said, Saintclare. Yep.
Well,
we need to teach men not to
I think Carlos has a thing for me.
I remember a while back I quoted a feminist tweet and added my own commentary to it. And her exact words to me were, "Oh, look at you attacking me and trying to get your followers to attack me." What?
Yeah.
I what, mate? I just, like...
You fucking what, mate?
Yeah, exactly. It's what?
You what, mate?
In their
couldn't
defense, they caught you off your feet.
Yeah. I mean, props to that. But I still, to this day, can't believe what I was reading. This chick, and then immediately added me to a list that said harassers, and I'm like, what? Are you?
So,
is this for real?
I have a question. Who the hell is white supremacist Grimace Wonder Woman?
Huh?
I don't know, but that's a funny ass name.
I have no clue.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue.
Yep.
You understand the key importance of reproducibility and repeatability in scientific research. That's simply going to Google
This guy has
Star,
such a fucking chip on his shoulder.
search for keywords and pulling out
I
the
hate
first
him.
paper you find that backs up your stance is not a particularly credible way to do research. That you have to have a much broader overview to read the material, to follow the citations through, to look at the broad brush approach.
That's
to a
the Christy
particular
Winters
problem.
one,
You do
isn't it?
realise that you're as much of a social justice warrior as those you critique.
All right.
Seriously?
All right. So, having used numerous studies and demographical analysis in my job every single day, I can tell you that having 5 studies that say the same thing doesn't invalidate study A. And using BuzzFeed to say, here's my proof, is not valid either. I don't understand what he's coming from. Having 5 studies that say the exact same thing doesn't invalidate study A. And just because there is a lack of information... Now, I got into a discussion over statistical racism in a stream probably about a week ago, and I always said that starting with statistics, starting with these facts right here, is the beginnings of a hypothesis. It's the beginning of the conversation. Mm-hmm. He's operating under the assumption that we believe we're right because statistics. Not only, like, I won't say our side isn't guilty of that. However, when we're starting with this to branch off from there, to extrapolate it logically, to offer commentary and critique, that does not necessarily mean we believe we're right from the get-go. However, when it comes down to it, and has anybody here ever gotten that one tweet, "Oh, BuzzFeed says this, therefore I win"?
I haven't gotten that in a tweet, but I've got that on a Facebook post.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in ages.
Progressives don't engage with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he talks about repeatability, and they are repeatable. However, when you don't engage in the conversation and when you shut the conversation down, you're not going to see that repeatability.
That's the thing, though. He's going on about, like, oh, you only quote 5 studies. But the thing is, those 5 studies, they have numerous sort of independent and dependent factors that are all controlled. They have a large enough sample size, or as best as they could get at the time. Things like BuzzFeed, you could have like 12 people just randomly lying into their little, like, you know, survey thing. How's that going to prove anything?
BuzzFeed is an entertainment website. How can you expect to get anything factual out of it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, they are known to lie. That's
They lie, yeah. Anyone who disses the scientific method that scientists use to unfalsify evidence, to make it sure that they are as unbiased as possible, as objective as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to be totally objective in anything, because it's our human nature. But when we have enough people that independent of them prove something is the scientific method. That is fact. Now, he went on, he is just basically saying, no, we don't care about the evidence. We have our feels. That's what I got from that.
This
And,
seems like a call for.
No, you
what I gather from what he's saying is, he says, okay, you need to look at the evidence that is actually true, the actual objective evidence, and then you need to look at the sort of the progressive spin on the evidence. You know, so there are progressive studies that simply fall outside the realm of fact, and then there are factual studies. But he's saying you need to look at all of the data and come to some kind of compromise between the two. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah. But no, you don't have to look at that type of evidence. You only have to look at the real evidence that's unfalsifiable, that can be repeatable.
And I'm sorry,
Exactly,
I'm sorry to classify progressive studies by their very nature as being fallacious. I'm sorry to collectivize them in that way, but I don't see very many exceptions to that rule.
I'm not sorry about that. I'm not sorry because shit, I use the scientific method even in my small videos that I made, the 2 that I made. I can't claim something that I don't have facts behind it.
Well, with all respect, you guys are all probably wrong because lest we forget, we have just discovered that we need to tear down science and start over so we can make sure that everyone's viewpoint is accounted for.
Okay.
I don't know how any of you can sit here and try to proclaim like you're all factual and fighting for the scientific method.
Moriarty,
you know you're wrong.
Moriarty needs to check his European patriarchal white privilege.
You're all wrong.
I'm out of whiskey. I got to get some more. Be right back.
Okay, let's continue with this one though. I'm not sure if this was the last one, but let's see if there's another one.
I'll listen to the question.
Beautiful pause frame though.
You can almost see his begging face. Just be like, please believe me.
Yes.
Please.
Well, but isn't that the narrative? Isn't that the narrative of the regressive left and feminism? I mean, they actually, well, one of them anyway. What was her name? Sarkeesian actually had this huge wall back when she was talking, which actually said, "Listen and believe."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
you can't get more totalitarian than that.
Their narrative isn't please believe me. Their narrative is how dare you not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Can I just...
Are you there still, Raven, though?
Right. The law should be rewritten so that you have to believe.
Okay, someone wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to quickly mention, since Modwain brought up Sarkeesian, I did actually find a 18+ dirty novel about Anita Sarkeesian that's available on Amazon.com.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to spend any on that. Okay, let's continue.
That's not the only thing. There's a porn star who's doing videos imitating her.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The man looks like a raving lunatic.
As an egalitarian.
Didn't we have that earlier?
I mean, so.
We started the same thing.
That I'm interested in your take on the usefulness of the concept of the original position as laid out by John Rawls in his theory of justice.
This is beautiful. I don't know. Do you guys know the original position?
No.
I just remember it was very... Isn't it very, like... what's the word? Situational, I guess?
Then again, I don't pretend to be an egalitarian either. So.
Well, I am an egalitarian, but you don't have to know this stuff. But he isn't an egalitarian. He basically used critical theory, which is Frankfurt School modern version of why feminism aren't bad. It's basically the whole basis of what we now call social justice warriors, but it's from the 1920s, so it's not new. But the critical theory of him is completely riddled with assumptions. It assumes that all people, not knowing other people, will still want to have equality. And they want laws to create equality. But by not knowing their position compared to others, they are more likely to, how do you call it?
Like unequal or...
But no, miscalculate.
They miscalculate. But
Right.
the whole thing is, it's all about assumption.
Mm.
And she totally goes over it. She's like, haha, look, I asked a smart question. No. I mean, most philosophical theorists already recognize the fact that it's a thought experiment. And where does it go wrong? Because it assumes.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a phrase that I hear growing up. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. So, I have a request. Can someone Photoshop her face on a donkey?
Yeah, but why would we do that to the donkey?
It's been done, man. It's been done.
We'll do it
Yeah,
again.
we're staring at it.
No.
I want to just say for a moment, I love her banners. I really do.
You love her what?
The
Banners.
banner.
On her wall.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. This is the first response to her video that and answered her question.
Nope, Vern did it.
What? Who?
Vernaculus. Vernaculus.
Did he
in my
read the
opinion,
book?
Gave, I don't know if he read the book, but he gave a really well informed, really
Of the same-
argued.
Okay, second one. Well, I didn't see Vernaculus's one, so I can still stand corrected. I still.
It's the best one. The best
I
one.
like
I've seen
Vernaculus.
so far.
I know some people who dislike him intensely, and I don't think that their dislike is well founded.
But,
cool.
but the thing,
I have no problems
the
with
thing is that the question, and she's actually, look at her. She's like, haha, I dropped a bomb. No,
Motherfucking
didn't.
bitch.
Yeah, but you didn't drop a bomb. You dropped an eggshell on yourself.
Someone cut
You
his heart.
you know what she got? She dropped a deuce.
Yeah.
No, she has that look on her
Guys.
face. She has that look on her face where it's like it's going through her mind right now. All my years studying for my doctorate degree have led up to this moment where I drop a pointless point on the internet arguing with a bunch of men because that's what I feel is justifying and worth my time at the moment.
And now someone
And she looks so proud doing it.
Yeah, someone timestamp this and send it to her. What Modwain just repeated, answered her question. She'll be blown away.
No, she'll just ignore it. I actually mentioned this in my version as well, because this whole assumption of well, basically critical theory combined with I forgot the words for it. Sorry, it's all an assumption. It's based on other philosophers like Kant, and they aren't as assumptive. I mean, they are all about how people will try to do good if they are given a chance. He continues on it. Well, Kant or Kant?
Kant.
Well,
I'm gay, so Kant as well.
I have a request. Can we move the video along? I'm sick of staring at Miss Piggy.
Let's continue anyway.
I have one more thing to say.
I am sick of staring at Miss Piggy sister's Down syndrome.
I have one more thing to say.
Say it.
Crispy sphincters.
Okay, let's continue with the movie. I mean, yes.
Did you send that one to Bering?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cringy pigtails.
God, the man looks like a raving lunatic.
Why do you want to quash academic freedom? You're not familiar with the concept of academic freedom. It's worth in the UK.
Yeah, this was
Oh
the
my
Sorbonne
fucking
one.
God! We're not the ones trying to squash academic freedom.
No,
You're the ones doing it.
Modwain, he's talking about Sorbonne and his petition to remove social justice courses from universities.
Which isn't academic.
The fact that
Hang
your
on.
movement actually has required courses in the state of Oregon that you must take before you can enter anything in the field of academia
Yeah,
exists.
The thing is, though, Sargon's stance against social justice courses in the thing wasn't their complete removal. It was to vet them and make sure, if they are going to teach this, they at least teach it as accurately as possible.
But we see what we see
I'm
now.
just saying that's what his viewpoint. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I
but
understand.
I'm still saying he's wrong on that, because look at what's happening now in schools for kids, in high schools. The way that. Sorry?
I just read this article today. Oklahoma, a teacher demanded that her white students accept that they're racist. A teacher.
Stuff like that. I mean,
demanded her children.
Teachers are
not
actually
getting it.
teachers are actually pushing for gender.
And she's white.
Yeah, but teachers are actually pushing for gender dysphoria at this very moment. If you look at, for example, in Victoria, Australia, they have safe schools where children have to be allowed to be different, which is perfectly fine and well. And then they push for gender dysphoria at an age of 6.
They would do worse in Australia.
That's criminally negligent.
That's criminal negligence.
Let's leave it off topic. Stay with academia, guys. I mean, don't go down to primary school level.
But it's because of academia, because academia is telling people this is a good thing. But I mean, I work in psychiatry. Yes, I'm a social therapist. Yeah, I know.
You're a social terrorist?
Yeah, something like that. I know that my line of work is based on reasoning, perception, and situational information. There are no golden, well, there are a few golden rules, but they need to be interpreted in the situation. And what these people are trying to tell you is these are the golden rules. They always count. And they are creating gender dysphoria. They are creating a system where we have now a lot of people claiming to be neither he or she, neither transgender. No, they have to have all new sorts of things.
And they have to have a unique name for themselves. And unique
this is being
title.
Pushed.
A title.
Yeah, and this is being pushed. And this is the gender studies, the sociology classes that are now going on. I saw a movie from not too long ago about the stupidity of gender studies. Stuff like how the problem of how do you call it? Drugs in professional sports is a heterosexual problem. Porn movies are cis heterosexual. They are against transgenders because you see men ejaculating. What the fuck are you on about?
You know,
this sort isn't academic, and this is the problem.
There's an entire category of porn called she-male. I'm just
I know.
I'm just gonna.
I'm still waiting for the Blair White video. I have openly admitted I will Patreon her $100 a video.
Oh, she is not. She is not attractive. I'm sorry.
Well, I like her viewpoints. I like to listen to her.
But I've seen attractive trannies. It does not work for her. Her bone structure doesn't work.
I don't understand it though. She's not really a tranny. She's not even post-op. She's not even working towards being operated upon. She's
Blair White.
Blair White.
She has. She's been operated.
I was about to say she's post-op.
Really?
No. She's still pre-op, but she just recently upped her estrogen levels.
How do you know this?
Well, I try to keep track
because I follow her on Twitter.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I don't follow her on Twitter. I follow her on her YouTube channels, and there she's basically always said that she wasn't going for the operation yet.
Yeah.
If that changed,
does it matter?
I stand corrected. No, it doesn't matter. You're right that it doesn't matter. But there is transvestite and transgender. And I'm sorry, if you're not post-op, you're not transgender, you're transvestite.
I don't know. I thought that was the trans was part of the
transitioning. No, that's correct. No, Modwain is correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Come on, you should all know by now that I'm correct.
He's a social therapist, so he does.
Okay. She's not transgender, but she calls herself a tranny, and that's right.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not digging on her because I do appreciate her work a lot. I really do. So that's not the one thing I try to say. But what I am trying to say is that what we see now is a lot of people calling themselves transgender when they are really not. Now, apparently, I'm wrong about Blair White because she did start prepping for operation.
Yeah.
And I hope everything goes well with her. Don't get me wrong. But there are so many people out there who call themselves transgender, and today they're trans man, and tomorrow they'll be trans woman again because, hey.
Yeah. And this is one thing, Justin Dennis and that other queer chick did a video about SJW, anti-SJW response videos. And in that video, Justin Dennis said, well, I guess they don't think that trans people exist. No, they do. It's just that when you call yourself gender fluid or heliogender, or that's my personal favorite, they identify as a star. But yeah, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding at all. But when you call yourself one of those special snowflake genders, that does not make you transgender. That does not make you transsexual. That does not make you any of that stuff. However, again, this is the fault in most of these SJW responses, is that they're seeing it through their own eyes. They're interpreting what they're seeing as their world.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a bumpy ride, so hang on to your gender fluids.
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. I think we're nearly done now.
Marked and seen what that says about the rights of academics to put across unpopular opinions.
Yeah, it was academia. We're kind of veering off topic really heavily. Okay, next one.
Yeah, next one. I know.
Why are
I'm
you
sorry.
so obsessed with Anita Sarkeesian?
Do you?
Oh, we're not.
We're not.
Obsessed with us.
Nope.
She's obsessed with us.
She extorted a lot of money from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the fact that for about a, I mean, she is passé now because everybody has kind of like thoroughly pwned her. But for about a year and a half, there was nothing but Anita videos.
Exactly.
Coming out.
She's a hilarious meme, and the internet always loves its memes.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, most of us, I can't speak for everybody, but most of us are gamers.
Yeah.
And she has come out and said that we need to force people to make different games. We need to change the games. We need to do this to the games. And when you say those things, you're going to get a whole angry mob of gamers with their controllers and their pitchforks ready to whoop your ass, because this is our hobby. This is our art. This is our love.
I'll be 100% honest. I kind of agree with her. I am sick of seeing Call of Duty. Whatever.
Okay, fair point.
She's not always wrong.
Okay, we're veering off again, guys. Come on, let's continue.
Let's get back on topic.
It
Let's get
needs
back on
to
topic.
change.
You think you can spend your entire life in a perpetual state of emotional immaturity?
Skip.
I agree.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, I do. I will
Hang on.
play with Bionicles until the day I die.
The only thing I can say about this is projection is thy name.
Yeah,
This was
Absolutely.
Sargon's question.
Signaling, right?
Yeah, he just mentioned about emotional.
Basically, he stole this question from Sargon.
Yeah, he just mentioned emotional immaturity. Sorry, who are the people who are saying they don't want to hear your arguments, no matter how good they are?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, this is again that whole asking a question with their own worldview in the forefront. Sargon asked it because they believe, or because our side believes they're intellectual adolescents, because they don't want to hear arguments. They don't want to have intellectual confrontation and all that stuff. And he's asking that question from the point of view of, you guys just want to sit in your living room and play video games all day. So, I mean, there is validity to his question, because let's be honest, if I could just like win the lottery, I probably wouldn't leave my living room for about 6 months.
If you had a choice.
Yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
That assumes that the video games that we play are meant for immature people, which isn't often the case.
well, look, man, excluding the video games, they're coming out with VR porn, and I'm getting an Oculus Rift for Christmas. So.
Well, Thunderfoot said this a long time ago. If it's rated M for mature, it should probably also mean feminists should not play this game.
Yeah.
It should also mean if it's rated M for mature,
Yes.
if it's rated M for mature, it's usually geared towards 12-year-olds.
Didn't somebody else
You just
ask
have
this
to-
one?
yeah,
Wait, I gotta.
You just have to see the games that they like. They are what, for 5 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
But
it's crap.
normal people, anyone over 15, normal people, and I don't give a shit what they say, normal people, they like games mature. They like to see some action. and shit.
Okay, that was actually the last guy. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
No,
Thank
yeah.
the Lord.
And we're finished before
fuck him.
midnight.
Yeah, just click it away. It's
This was edited by what's her name? Fisty Splinters. That's who edited.
Crispy
No, well,
Sphincters?
yeah, crispy sphincters.
We know how awesome she's at editing videos. Oh,
I thought it was Physiosities. Well, it's on her channel.
it doesn't matter. She was
It's
the one
on
that
all their
edited.
channels.
Yeah, they mirrored it.
They're all the same. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we came through this. I
barely
think,
survived.
yeah, I think on average we can say that these questions are so full of vile and rot that you can't really answer them because they're not really questions.
Yeah.
I mean, most of it is, well, you do this. Why do you do this? Well, we don't. You say this.
There is a fair amount of like projection in places, as well as the questions basically being, you know, they're begging their own question, they're not asking a legitimate one. Things like
and
that.
a lot of undeserved collectivism. They look at something that one person who is anti-SJW or anti-progressive or anti-feminist, whatever, and they collectivize the entire group like that. Like they could look at Devin Tracy and make so many assumptions about us as a quote-unquote community.
I don't belong to any community at all.
Yeah. Neither do I. That's why I said quote-unquote.
Exactly.
I belong to a pantheon.
Some people like the idea of referring to it as a community. I think that's fallacious.
It is, totally, yep. I identify with a lot of things. I identify with motorbikes. I have a motorbike. I have done motor blogging.
Yeah, I like motorbikes. I do not identify with a motorbike. I'm sorry.
I do archaeology, science, and now this. So how can anyone characterize me? You can't. It's difficult. I see what I mean?
Yeah.
I sexually identify as a guitar.
Not an attack helicopter?
No, it's a guitar. The Gibson SG, to be specific, if anyone.
I sexually identify as an electric chair.
You belong in Texas, sir.
I sexually identify as a Neanderthal.
Isn't that where Magnus lives?
Hey, that's racist. You're assuming based on his accent that he lives in Texas? Sir, you need to check your privilege.
For fuck's sake. Anyway.
Do you know my avatar the rest of our avatars is actually two examples of races. The Neanderthal was a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually, yeah, you're correct. Yeah. Oh, then again, it is your job, so.
Yep, exactly. My job, my hobby, and my passion. Yes.
And I'm the only black guy here. Well, I'm not really black, but my picture is black, so who cares?
You're Dutch, and that's essentially the Negro of Europe.
Your picture is only one role that Jaleel White.
No, it's not. It's not the Iberians. It's the Dutch.
Your picture is of the one. Your picture is of the one show that Jaleel White absolutely despises.
Anyway, Real Raven.
No. I disagree. I actually liked him when I was a kid. So.
No. The show's not bad. Jaleel White hates being identified as the character because he played Steve Urkel.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
He actually, cool, yeah. He actually, believe it or not, prefers to be identified by his role in voicing Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I was.
He was
I was
Sonic
20
the
years
Hedgehog?
old. But yes, I was 20 years old before I found that out.
He was Sonic the Hedgehog.
He
was Sonic the Hedgehog. He was Sonic the Hedgehog in the first 3 TV shows that came out in the 90s.
I did not know that, and I watched those shows as a child.
I learned that in 6th grade because a friend of mine was real big into those shows, and he knew that kind of shit. And I was a real big Sonic fan, so he told me, and I was like, wait, what? What? You're telling me the black nerd is the voice of the... What? What?
I think we can go offline now.
Yeah, no, we're going to go give people a chance to say goodbye because we're close to 2 hours. So I'm going to give you all your last words today. I'm going to start with Real Raven.
Yes, okay. Good night.
Anything else you want to say?
Not necessarily.
I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys.
Come to my channel, and I'm still working on background music for the next Bane thing, and also on an album. So, very busy, very busy.
Okay, Mark Driscoll, you're next. What's your last words for this stream today?
I just came out with a couple videos. Go check them out. I also have a gaming channel if anyone's interested. So.
Okay, nobody.
Actually, much like Mark, I'm here to plug my new gaming channel. I'm starting to do a Let's Play of KOTOR, if anyone's a fan of Star Wars.
Oh my god, KOTOR is the greatest Star Wars game that has ever been made.
It is hands down my favorite Star Wars game of all time.
Okay, Cheshire.
And The Wand of Gamelon was the best Zelda game.
As always, my Twitter.
Get your
and my
CDI bullshit
Oi,
out of here.
Come on, give Cheshire a chance to do his thing.
Again,
Don't make me ignore you. Put you on ignore or silence or mute or whatever.
I'm sorry,
Mute.
Lord Modwain. Please forgive me.
I will be gracious.
All my well, I was just gonna say all my plugs. I'll just plug myself. My description in the description is my Twitter and my dust bowl of a YouTube channel. And there was something I wanted to say earlier until I was quickly dragged away. Is the much like how Martius decided on his thing about the Roman stuff. I picked CheshireCat as my name because after I read the book, someone told me that there was some conjecture over it as to whether or not there were actual subtle references to it inside of it about mathematical theories and like metaphysical like conjecture and things like that. So
yeah, isn't that the Schrodinger's cat? There are some parallels between the two.
Yeah, there's things like
yeah, there's some NLP references in it as well.
yeah, it's the substance theory where it was the Cheshire cat. Alice remarks that she's always seen a cat without a grin, but she's never seen a grin without cat. It just made me think about that whole thing of, you know how they say you never just read a book by its cover. I've read the cover and the book, and I still missed some things about it.
Okay.
So, yep. I know, long-winded, but go on. Next person.
Saintclare, chill and shill.
Well, I think what I'm very well known for at the moment, gotta get my hair out of my face. What I'm very well known for at the moment is my slavery series. I've made 3 so far, and I plan on releasing part 4 of my very critically acclaimed series. I plan on releasing part 4 of it as soon as this live stream goes offline.
Hey man, it ain't critically acclaimed yet. You need a Michael Bay director for that.
Oh yeah. Well, if I need an explosion,
I'm a critic. Just add explosions.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a critic, and I claim
Explosions and change the slaves to aliens, man. You gotta change the slaves to aliens.
Well, I plan on releasing part 4 as soon as this goes offline, so I hope you all enjoy that. And criticize me when I'm wrong. Please.
I'll probably will enjoy it. I enjoyed the other 3.
Thank you.
Carlos, your turn.
Yeah, my turn. I have I do a live streams every Tuesday night, PM London time, and I talk about stuff, and sometimes I do some videos on archaeology and so on, which I can go off my normal schedule and so on. Like I made one where I talked prehistory on a Saturday morning, sort of like that. Yep.
Okay. Martius Filius, when will you start your own channel, mate?
I don't know. Maybe when I take a vacation. But all I want to say is, as 12 million Americans know, the United States government is run by lizard people, or to be scientifically accurate, reptilians.
Don't forget to plug your author.
Oh yeah, which author are we going to name?
I always like to. You know what? Actually, I'm going to plug a different book. It's very relevant to today's political climate in the United States. It's called A Team of Rivals, written in.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, in about I think it was 2002, and it chronicles the cabinet of Abraham Lincoln, and pretty much how they all hated each other, and they were all on varying sides of the political axis, and how they argued, how they fought, how a true presidential cabinet should be appointed. A group of people who disagree all the time, and I can't shell it enough. And just 1 second, I'll find the author because I had to sell my copy and I forgot who the author was. But if you want to do somebody else, I'll come back with the author in 1 moment.
Well, that somebody else is going to be me, considering I'm the only one who hasn't shelled himself yet. Hi there, I'm Modwain for the people who don't know me yet. Check my channel out. I do enjoy these conversations. I do enjoy discussions, even if we don't agree with each other, because there is no better way to well, increase our knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I'm very. I hope. I'm very willing to see. I'm very hopeful to see Modwain succeed in whatever YouTube goals he has. Help him to reach 300 subscribers very soon, people.
Yep.
Do it for Saintclare. Do it for Saintclare. I'm the most popular guy here. Do it for me. Please.
I am 1 away from 30, which means I'm 1 away from my first milestone that I set for
I'm
myself.
close to 5,000.
So?
Yeah, so fuck you.
What does that mean?
What does the number of subscribers
Oh,
or the number of followers?
the number of goddamn subscribers. I'm sorry.
Are you trying to get little rocks?
As long as I can, how do you call it, influence and motivate people with larger channels than me, I'm doing all right.
I highly recommend Modwain. I would not have made my slavery series if I hadn't have watched his video on, I think it was AJ Plus on BLM, and I highly recommend that video for everybody watching.
Well, thank you very much. Matthias, you're back, therefore you have the name.
Yes. Levy Live Evil in the chat pointed out that it was Dolores Goodwin. Yes. And yes, definitely pick it up. A Team of Rivals by Dolores Goodwin. It is just such an amazing examination of a really well appointed cabinet and administration.
Thank you very much, Levy, for helping out there. And with that, I am going to call it quits. Thank you very much all for watching. Thank you very much all for coming, and hopefully see you next week.
Vote Donald Trump.
See you.